Now, to continue our Tuesday evening on BBC One, Dog Ends, a black comedy starring Leonard Rossiter as the head of a suburban family with problems, and the first in a new season of Play for Today.
Colonial.
Do you mind?
Do I mind what?
Concentrate.
What a waste. What a waste.
9-4, lads, thank you very much.
How many times do I have to tell you second player plays low?
Not necessarily.
Second player plays low.
Get aerated.
26.78's a doddle.
Title to get aerated.
Who lost my queen then?
Who lost her queen then?
I lost her queen, her being your mother, in order to reveal Vivienne's ace.
I didn't have the ace.
I had it.
I know you bloody had it.
Don't get so aerated.
Spades are.
I can never remember which are the spades.
Spades the ones like shovels, clubs the ones like a bunch of grapes.
Down the cross, is me talking about finesses, her talking about a bunch of grapes. It's pathetic.
Oh, you take things so serious. He takes things so serious.
If a thing's worth doing...
Like that shelf you put up.
Go on, you humiliate me.
He put a shelf up.
It's nice for a man to have a hobby.
It fell down.
I cannot cater for inferior mortar.
He's been saying that since 1947.
My dad wanted to build a ship.
Oh, that's nice.
Mum wouldn't let him.
Oh, typical.
She said she'd feel silly with a ship.
Mr. Hodges built a racehorse.
Oh, that's right, drag him into
Who's
it.
Mr. Hodges then?
Lives at number 10.
Built a full-scale model of a racehorse out of matchsticks.
And him a non-smoker.
There's nothing particularly clever about building a racehorse.
Oh, I don't know.
All you need is the patience, which I have got, and the room, which I have not.
You don't need much room to build a shelf.
Come on.
Oh.
Great many things that life has done in this life. A great many.
Don't be personal.
Looking back,
Name one.
now for a start, there's my greenhouse.
What greenhouse?
Yes, precisely.
Can't build a greenhouse out of matchstick.
Mr. Hodges good.
Mr. Hodges, I might remind you, enjoyed 33 years of childless marriage.
Oh, so it's my fault you never had a greenhouse.
Mr. Hodges, I might remind you all, served his country during the war as a plumber with the London County Council.
Oh, someone had to keep our water moving.
He could have done his bit with the rest of us, feet or no feet.
You pardon me, but he's dead, so we shouldn't be talking about him.
Oh, when was this?
Last week.
Only been retired a year.
Mind you, he deteriorated totally since his wife died. No one to look after him, of course.
Tragic it was. Him and his dog were both found floating in the canal.
German Shepherd, wasn't it?
Bonzo.
Yeah, the theory being that since Mr. Rogers was found floating face up with his hands in his pockets, he must have fallen in first, whereupon the aforementioned Bonzo jumped in to save him and inadvertently drowned the both of them.
Well. Poor old Mr. Hodges.
What are trumps?
Runs like a
like a
shovel.
shovel.
Oh, who did that?
Oh, he's not done it again, has he?
What's he done?
It wasn't me, I'll tell you.
Who was it then? Answer me that, who was it?
Dog.
Oh, the dog. That's I blame the poor old dog.
Oh, come on, Grandad, he hasn't got one in him.
I heard him, I did. A sort of faint whistling
Now, you
sound.
cannot pass your guilt onto a dying animal.
Perhaps that's what it was. A last defiant gesture into the face of his maker.
Dogs don't believe in
It
God.
was your grandfather, and deep in his heart he knows
I
it.
think all men are the same. It must be the way they're made.
Because they're closer to the animal, dear. Whose lead is it?
Mine.
Where'er you might go, where'er you may be, always let your wind go free.
Yes, we know all about that.
I read that on a tombstone, I did. Never forgotten it. Fella named Amos. Died in agony because he contained himself.
At least he died a gentleman.
Like that, wouldn't you? You'd like to see me dead.
Oh, don't be so wicked, Grandad.
That's all you're waiting for. Go on, say it.
Don't indulge him, Beatrice.
Let him have his moan, poor old
I know just what you're thinking. Why don't he contain himself and die in agony?
That is not true,
Of
Grandad.
course it isn't true.
Can't wait for the day, none of you.
I wonder what they put on the death certificate. Cause of death, heart failure due to a suppressed fart.
Using that sort of language in front of your mother and your new wife. Very clever indeed.
Well, who started it?
You've never heard me using foul language in this house.
Who was it jumped out of his chair making insinuations all over the
Not
place?
me who insinuated.
Grandfather.
It was a dog.
Would you kindly leave the dog out of this, I ask you?
It could be the dog. They can be very human, can't they?
Sooner or later, that dog is going to have to be put down.
Arthur.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. Once that dog leaves this house, there'll be no more excuses. No more parts in the buck. We shall see.
See what?
We shall see if certain things continue. And if so, we may draw certain conclusions. All right? We may see that old and dying though that poor animal was, he was subjected to accusations of the vilest nature. And I hope his accusers will bow their heads in shame. On you to go, Beatrice.
It's not my fault I went to bed.
Tea time, I shouldn't wonder.
Yes, cup of tea and a nice mince pie do us all good.
Well, that's it.
Nobody blames you for that, Grandad.
He blames
I
me.
have never uttered a word.
I've seen a look on your face. Do you think I like it happening?
I haven't noticed you making much effort to stop it.
He can't help it.
I know he can't help it, but you don't have to change the sheets, my son.
The number of times his mother's changed his sheets, God rest her soul.
Bedwetting is a part of growing up.
Sneaking into our bed at night.
Yes, and being told to sneak right out again.
You've forgotten them days, haven't you, my son?
Here we go.
Whooping cough, appendicitis, the lot he had. And what about that time you swallowed a bottle?
I did not swallow a bottle.
Hysterical he was.
Sliver of glass from a Crook's halibut oil
And
container.
who did he come to? Who pulled it out for him with hands as steady as...
Yes, I was grateful then. I am grateful now.
You don't know the meaning of the
I
word.
think I've more than repaid my debt.
Your mother would have turned in her grave if she could hear the way you speak to me now.
Don't worry, Gran, you're all right.
I knew I made a mistake in coming here.
We wanted you here with us. You're not 24 hours a day, that's all.
I've been happy in one of them homes. Laughing and joking, playing bingo, going on sheriff bear
If
now.
that's what you want, I'll be down the welfare first thing Monday morning.
That's right, bring them into it, typical.
Robert and I go private, of
First
course.
thing Monday morning.
Their own flesh and blood.
Mind you, Gran, give him his due. If he had the room, he'd build you a home.
We did consider an extension.
Perhaps he'd like that. Would you like an extension?
Or perhaps he could build you a shelf to sit on.
Will you stay out of this? Just stay out of this, all right?
Better go and see the welfare. That's the best thing. I'm nothing but trouble in this house.
Now let's have no more of this silly talk. The world's depressing enough as it is. Besides, it's Christmas. Now, come on, who wants another mince pie? Here, Grandad.
Ooh.
Arthur.
Ooh.
Arthur, come on, quick.
My God!
It's coming.
Oh, quick.
It's coming.
Robert, quick, help me get in the lavatory.
It's coming. Oh, it's too late.
You sod! You dirty, filthy sod!
It's not my fault he come away from me.
Wish you were dead. Wish you were bloody dead.
Very honestly say I thought it was a very disappointing turn.
Nearest and dearest being man can ask for very little more.
I think he would have been satisfied with the actual class of mourner.
Do you think so, Robert?
I do. Limited, but select.
You don't want too many, do you?
Quite right, Vivienne. There's some very untidy people about.
I know I shan't when you go, Robert.
Oh, say, look here, steady on.
Anyway, then it would have warmed the old man's heart, seeing us all there, you know, friends and neighbours, paying our last respects, be.
All right, Grandad. We explained to Henry why you couldn't come. You know, he quite understood what with the operation and all that.
How long was he in this time?
10 days.
I think doctors are wonderful.
You're gonna miss him, aren't you, Grandad? Henry's father, you're gonna miss him. Used to take the dogs for a walk. Used to take the dogs for a walk, you and Henry's father, didn't you? Well, I say walk. Henry's father was in his chair. Quite a little gathering, wasn't it? All the old gentlemen and their dogs. Gonna miss them, aren't you?
It's quite prophetic in a way, you know.
What was?
Henry's father. Yes, I saw him once. Blue in the face he was. Well, hardly surprising, really. Trying to keep that dog under control, steer his wheelchair at the same time. I'll tell you this, Arthur, he said to me, I'll tell you this. One of these days, that animal will be the death of me. As it turned out, he wasn't very far wrong, was he?
What exactly happened?
He was found dead in his tent with the dog similarly expired at his feet.
We thought about a camping holiday once, didn't we, Robert?
No, when I say tent, that's how we refer to his iron lung.
Henry had it installed in the spare room.
Yeah, we'd seen the animal got into the room, tripped over the wire and accidentally pulled out the plug, thereby cutting off Mr. Newbold's supply and electrocuting himself at the same time.
Quite a shock for both of them.
Wasn't that undertaker a nice man?
Oh, very decent type.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't take a tip, you know. Henry had to force him.
I cried
When was that, dear?
during the service.
She's always crying lately.
It's my conditional.
I think there's something very moving about a funeral.
A good funeral, babe.
Funerals ain't a patch on what they were in my day. Then we did have funerals.
You remember the Elkins funeral?
Oh, I do, yes, I do.
Yeah, that was a funeral. Hello, who's that?
They're born to it, though, aren't they, royalty?
Born to what, dear?
A good funeral. It's their natural conclusion.
Hello, Henry.
Oh.
It's Henry.
Not butting in our trust.
No.
No, Henry. We were just saying what a very nice send-off it was.
Yes.
Thank you, B. We did our best.
I was just saying, Mr. Newbold, I cried during the service.
Yeah, I did.
I love that bit when the curtains opened and the coffin slid into eternity. So moving, I thought.
Whose idea was it to have him cremated?
It was a dying wish, more or less.
Only I thought this was a smokeless zone.
The council gives special dispensation when it comes to human beings.
Yeah, they're very good like that.
Anyway, Marge asked me to pop round and say thank you very much for your support and sympathy in an hour of
That's all
darkness.
right, that's perfectly
And to
all
say there's plenty left over if you fancy any sausage rolls or trifle.
That's typical of Marge, typical. Always thinking about others.
Also, now dear old Dad has gone, we have a few odds and ends you might very well make use of. I know he'd only be too pleased to know that his rubber sheet, etc., was being made good use of.
Point taken, Henry, and gratefully received.
Sorry to hear your new hip's been playing up.
No, it's new elbow.
I thought he gave him a new hip.
No, it was last time.
Oh, he's got more plastic in him than a box of Lego, haven't you, Grandad?
Be personal, Robert.
Take it easy. Let them work themselves in.
I think he hears. You got a new hearing aid, haven't you, Grandad? Just that he seldom responds.
Yeah, you give up after a while, you know, Henry. Talking to him is like doing a jigsaw with half the bits missing.
I know what you mean, Arthur. I know exactly what you mean. We did our best, you know. We only ever tried to do what was for the best. He must know that, mustn't he?
No one could have done more for him than you, Henry.
Marge has been a nervous wreck these last few months. A nervous wreck she was. If he hadn't gone when he did.
Don't torture yourself, Henry. Oh, tell him not to torture
No,
himself.
of course not,
Arthur.
Henry. No, the thing is, we must not dwell too heavily upon the dark side. No, what I suggest we do is we turn our eyes to Vivienne here. What do we see? We see a young woman with roses in her cheeks, heavy with child. What does that tell us? Well, it tells us
He's having a
that
baby.
that in the midst of death there is life. That when one door closes, another door opens. That man is instantly replaceable. So I ask you to dwell upon that thought and raise our metaphorical glasses to Henry's father and to Vivienne. Cheers.
Thank you, Arthur. You're a friend indeed.
Yes, well, if you'll excuse us, I must be getting back to the factory, and Vivienne has her antenatal.
Oh,
Come
keep
along,
forgetting.
Vivienne.
It's the trouble when one keeps such a full diary.
And I must get back to Marge.
Well, it's strange having a house to yourselves after all these years, eh, Henry?
Well, she's taking her mind off it by studying a few holiday brochures.
Certainly do with one.
How's the new job then, Robert?
Oh, much more responsibility, of
I
course.
had to sack 200 men yesterday.
That's because he's executive.
Yes, it's quite awe-inspiring to know that simply by raising the telephone one may reduce the workforce by 43%.
So much nicer than having to tell them yourself. Bye-bye, Grandad.
Cheerio, old chap.
Don't forget, look after yourself.
I'll just see them to the car, Grandad.
Shouted at him last night. Said some terrible things.
We're only human.
It's not as if we can get away. We can't leave him. Who'd look after him? If only he could go away somewhere. Only break we get when he's in the hospital. Then there's the visiting. If you could just get away for a week somewhere.
The welfare does, of course, provide holiday homes for such cases, most of them scientifically equipped bungalows with a sea view.
I know, I studied the literature when I was up at the centre.
Did you broach the subject with him?
Yeah, no avail. I mean, the waiting lists would appear to be somewhat prohibitive anyway. Oh, we don't have his name, Mr. Dog.
There you are, you see.
Well, yes.
Oh, what?
We were just discussing how much William looks like his gang-gang.
There's your Gangan, and there's your grandfather.
I've just been describing what a wonderfully controlled birth it was. No pain, in fact, scarcely a sensation whatsoever. It could almost have been somebody else.
You were pacing all night when Robert was born, weren't you, Arthur?
That's all changed.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, it's 9 to 5 inductions.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
And no bank holidays, of course.
William was scheduled to arrive at 14:25 on the Wednesday.
First one out after the lunch break.
Sure enough.
Bingo.
The things they do for our convenience. Who's a lucky little chap, then? Isn't he a lucky little chap, Grandad? Oh, look, he's smiling.
Oh, he likes you, Grandad.
Say something to him, Grandad.
Hello, my son.
Oh, no, that's not. Hey, Grandad. Oh. Him being decidedly off colour.
Oh, yes, quite right, Vivienne. Germs, Grandad, germs. Now, who's jealous?
You come to any decision about the dog yet?
Oh, not so loud.
Oh, I shall have to, I suppose, soon.
We'll keep saying that. They have feelings, you know.
Oh, animals understand these things, believe me. I mean, take, for example, the elephant. I mean, when he knows his time's come, he crawls off in the jungle, lies down, sinks into peaceful oblivion.
Why?
In order to relieve others of his burden.
Yeah, well, I can understand an elephant being a burden, but not our nigger.
Oh, our nigger knows, believe me. It's for his own good, anyway.
Well, it can be ever so painless, you know. I saw a programme on the telly.
Yes, he's old, he's ill. It's our duty.
Luna, 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 bye. Do you want the moon to play with, or the stars to run away with? They'll come if you don't cry.
Good lady out, is she?
No, having an early night.
Not poorly, I trust.
Yeah, tied out. Yeah. Because I don't give him one.
Straight through.
They fitted him up with one of them plastic bags.
I don't suppose he's keen.
An hour and a half he was on that operating table. I never thought he'd come round. The terrible thing is, Henry, Terrible thing is, while he was there, they asked him to donate his body to medical science.
Did he?
Nah, refused, on the grounds that most of it wasn't his body anyway.
Yeah, well, he's got a point, of course.
When I went to collect him, just sitting on the bed, crying his eyes out.
Oh, what have I come to, sort of thing.
Pitiful to behold, it was.
I know what you're going through, Arthur. I've seen it all.
Oh, as strong as an ox he was, you know. I mean, now look at him. He's like an oven-ready chicken.
Yes, I must say he's deteriorating fast.
This last couple of weeks, not a word. Just sits there.
It'll be his brain.
You know, he's not moved from that chair all day.
Once the brain starts to
that's
go...
You've seen it all, haven't you?
Yes, yes, yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to think he was immortal.
Well, you do.
And now, I'm sure he is.
Of course, what finally finished my dear old dad was when Mum went.
Oh, look, they're all right when they're together, aren't they? But as soon as one goes...
Oh, that's true, very
it's
true.
like your clutch, you know. As soon as your clutch goes pound to a penny, you can say goodbye to your gig.
It was a merciful release the day dear old dad finally gave up his grip on the world.
And even then, it wasn't so much giving up his grip as having his plug pulled out, wasn't it? Anyway, you say you're off again then, Henry?
Oh, yeah, if you keep an eye on the house.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
You know, Marge and I didn't get away for 10 years while dear old dad was alive.
You've certainly made up for it since.
With no big grudges, surely, Arthur.
Big grudge, Henry. Where is it this time, then?
Marbella.
That's what you done, Marbella.
Oh, it's been Dorker.
Oh,
Anyway, the offer's still there, you know that, Arthur. Anytime you and B feel like it, there's always room in the Volvo.
Ah, well, how long do you reckon you'll be away this time?
Oh, just till the 14th. The builders are starting on the lounge.
That's something I've always fancied, that, you know. L-shaped lounge.
Yes, I must say, we've been very lucky. How's your nigger?
Oh, I shall have to come to a decision very soon regarding poor old nigger.
Put him down, you think?
Best thing all round, really. I mean, look at him.
Have you consulted a vet?
You keep putting these things off, don't you?
I only say that because I know a very good chap, actually. He was very good with our Sammy.
Oh, what a nice little dog he was, your son.
Ah, Prince in his own way.
Yes. Funny him going the same day as your old dad, wasn't it?
Anyway, about this vet, all I'll say, Arthur, all I'll say is he came highly recommended, and I do not hesitate to pass on that recommendation. He is, in all senses of the word, a specialist. He was the one that took care of all my problems, Arthur.
I'm surprised you've not mentioned him before, then.
Well, it's a question of what he described to me as the right psychological moment, and I think that moment has come for you, Arthur. Under the circumstances, I think you'd be doing yourself more than a favour to have a little chat with him.
I'll give him a tinkle, then.
I'll tell you what, I've got to speak to him. Someone else I know with the same dilemma. I'll ask him to pop around.
Right. Not saying we've made up our minds, not definite.
All I'll say, Arthur, all I'll say, we have never regretted the use of his services, not for 1 minute. Yeah, look at the time. I'm supposed to be picking Marge up from her flower arrangement. I've got a table booked at Bon Appetit. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what. While we're away, why don't you just pop in any time you feel like it and use the video?
Yeah, well, matter of fact, I was going to ask Henry, is a bit of boxing on next week?
Plenty in the cocktail cabinet. Make a night of it.
Right. Hi, Henry. He really is on his last knockings, I'm afraid.
I do understand, which is, of course, why I'm here.
Yes. So, before you have a look at him, how do you, what exactly is the method nowadays?
We pride ourselves on the more personal touch, as your good neighbour no doubt explained. I take it he did fully explain my terms of reference.
Oh, yes. Perhaps you care to elucidate?
Suffice to say that all relevant background information has been carefully scrutinised so that we may finally select a method which fits in with the general lifestyle and medical history of the client while at the same time offering the minimum of discomfort.
That's quite... Yeah. Right. Oh, this is my wife. This is my father.
Yes. Yes,
and
indeed.
This is the dog.
Ah, yes.
Got him all ready for you.
Thank you.
Only trouble he's ever really given has been with his sex drive, isn't it?
Bless him.
People were afraid to visit the house.
Thought the tranquilizers would do the trick.
Well, they did in a way,
Well,
didn't
in
they?
a manner of speaking.
He seemed to lose interest in other animals, settled for machinery.
We had a terrible time with next door's lawnmower.
Inseparable they were.
It's quite touching in a way.
In the end, there was nothing for it but to have his His what's it tinkered with.
I'll never forget the look on his face when we brought him home.
Yeah.
It was as if he knew.
Oh, no doubt he had more than an inkling.
Something had gone out of his life, you could tell.
There we are, old chap. All done.
Yeah, Ning.
Isn't it good?
Oh, no point examining him. He's got every complaint under the sun.
Does he ever go out of the house?
Oh, not if he can avoid
Yeah, he used to
it.
take a little stroll down the road down the park,
Yeah,
mostly,
meeting all his
wasn't it?
friends.
Yeah, quite a little club it was.
Yeah, no, not anymore.
No, I don't think any of them go now, do they? What then is your opinion, Mr.
He's got bad ears, bad eyes, bad teeth. His heart ticks over like a hedgehog's in winter, his hair is falling out and he's got hemorrhoids. His bladder's on the blink and his bowels are decidedly dodgy. He's got chronic arthritis, rampant rheumatism, and in a few weeks I doubt that he'll be able to put one leg in front of another.
Perhaps you could give him an injection.
I could give him an injection. I could give him pills, vitamins, liniments, anything you like. I could, in short, prolong his life and at the same time minimize his discomfort.
Oh,
yeah,
we'd like him to be comfortable.
What you must decide is whether it is worth it. Not only for him, but also for you.
You keep putting these things off, don't you?
Mostly for the wrong reasons.
I suppose you see it all the time.
It's perfectly natural, human nature being what it is. Irrational, emotional, sentimental, illogical.
Yeah, granted. But where there's life...
Life. Exactly.
Yeah, the thing is, though, you're not saying he's suffering from anything fatal.
No.
What he is suffering from is old age. In my experience, old age is invariably fatal, one way or another.
We just have to make up our minds, B.
I don't like talking about him like this, especially with him in a shot.
I can only advise. The decision must be yours.
Your advice would be...
To help him on his way. Quietly, confidentially, and without pain.
I keep getting flashes of him when he's you. I've got some lovely snaps of him all over the West Country.
Quite a rambler, was he?
Particularly fond of North Devon.
Nice to think he's got memories.
Well, let's face it, B, that's all he has got, isn't it?
I do understand. Believe me.
And you really think it would be for the best, then?
All I ask you to do is look at him. Think of him as he was and as he is now. All I ask you to consider is the question of dignity. Whether it is right. Whether he is all but saying, my life, my usefulness are at an end. I have lived my life. Now let me sleep in peace throughout eternity.
Quite.
I think it can all be summed up in that one word.
Which one?
Dignity.
Dignity.
Dignity, which means that we must consider not only him, but also you. At a time like this, we speak of putting him out of his misery. Let us be realistic and say we would also be putting him out of your misery.
That's true, very true.
It's a decision that only you can make. You are not alone with your problem. It was, after all, your good neighbour who brought us together, in confidence. I think you understand.
No, yes, I do.
And remember, the word is
Dignity.
dignity. You are, if I might say, extremely responsive.
Oh, thank you, Victor.
My card.
Oh.
Call me when you're ready. And now I must bid you goodbye.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Thank you, but I have several other calls to make.
Our business must be good, then.
Yes, demand is definitely on the up and up. Most satisfactory.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Dignity.
If you ask me, he's given up.
Given up? Of course he hasn't given up. Got a new pacemaker, haven't you, Grandad? Look at the way he's enjoying his pudding. Love my puddings, don't you, Gran?
Don't want to be buried.
Oh, not that again.
I'm not going under the ground.
Gotta put you somewhere.
I want to be cremated.
What's he on about now?
It's my right. I want to be cremated.
It's cheaper.
Yeah, what about Mum?
Worms.
Last week you gave specific instructions you wanted to lie alongside Mum.
I don't want no worms in my box.
Got this thing about worms lately.
I'm not being eaten by no worms.
Oh, I don't know why you're so morbid. Why are you so morbid, Grandad? Anyway, I expect it's up to the council. You can't just go where you like, you know. You have to allocate.
My body, I put it where I like.
Oh, stop thinking about worms. You've got to have a grave. It's keeping it in the family.
I want my ashes sprinkled in Newport Street.
Well, if you want to be cremated, if you've really set your pacemaker on being cremated, we'll have a little jar made.
I've always liked Newport Street. I'm not having no worms eat off me.
Don't argue with him, Beatrice. If he wants to be morbid, let him be morbid.
I've never liked your mother.
Oh, he's rambling again.
I hated her.
Well, that is unfair, and you know it.
Held me back.
Oh, now don't speak ill of the departed. There's a good boy.
I would have been happy with Josie Barrett.
Don't upset yourself. You'll be coming away again.
I was a good tradesman. A craftsman I was. People used to watch me. Watch me hands.
Yeah, of course they did. Yeah, when did you empty his bag?
It's all right, I've checked.
Yeah, don't want you sitting there with a bag full of nasties. Oh, God, I don't know which is worse, him or the dog. Yeah. Have you spoken to that vet?
No, not yet.
Well, I think you owe it to Nigger to come to a decision.
I don't think there's anything for it but to take his advice, you know, but
You feel so responsible. So I suppose he's an expert.
he's a specialist, Beatrice. We must trust people like that. That's what they're there for. It's all part of their training. And after all, living in the age of the specialist.
Oh, don't cry, Grandad. Tell him not to cry, Arthur. He'll get his wires wet.
I wish I could die.
What can you do? What can you do?
Do try, you know, Grandad.
Why can't I just die?
Sorry, my husband isn't here.
Yes.
He's had to stay late as the ministry aren't satisfied with their returns.
Ah.
Yes, there've been a lot of that lately, ever since they was taken over.
I would have preferred him to be present.
Well, he'll be back as soon as possible. I know he will.
He being the closest relative. You understand?
Yes, I suppose he is in a way.
You are quite sure that he's in full agreement?
Oh, yes. He can be very specific. Give him a tinkle, he said. Tell him I've thought it over and we're in full agreement.
I shall, of course, require your husband's signature.
Oh, yes.
Simply for the computer.
Oh, he's good at signing things. I like to get things over and done with myself. I think it's the television. I used to read avidly as a girl. Well, you do, don't you?
Does the old gentleman have any particular favourite?
Your Grandad?
Music.
Oh, yeah, used to love the old Gran.
Anything, as I say, in particular?
It's there somewhere.
Would you mind?
He had a lovely voice when he was young. Used to sing round the piano. That was in the old days, of course. Oh, this is it. Here. This is your favourite, isn't it, Gran?
Excellent.
Nothing like a good tune, I always say. Will you require my attendance or what?
I leave that entirely to you.
What do they usually do?
Most people prefer to leave things to me.
It isn't as if he knows I'm here, really, does he?
Sadly, no.
Wish my hubby was here.
Unfortunately, I have several other appointments.
Leave you to it, then.
I think so.
Yes.
Well, then, if you'd like to say your goodbyes.
Goodbye, Nigger. It'll be all for the best. You see if I'm not right.
Don't you want to say anything to
Here, Grandad. It'll be all for the best. You see if I'm not right.
Never easy, I know.
I'll be in my kitchen.
Thank you.
The other night, dear, as I lay dreaming, I dreamt that you were by my side. Came disillusion when I awoke, dear. You were gone, and then I cried.
Ah, there you are, Mr. Spino.
All done.
Yes, nothing more to worry about. If you just sign these forms.
Oh, yes.
Jolly good.
I'm sorry I couldn't be here.
Oh, that's all right. Best thing, in my opinion, probably have it written in next year or so. About half a minute, I should think. Oh, yes, in case you're wondering, there won't be any question of a post-mortem.
Medical card you take to the registrar. All right?
Oh, thanks ever so much, Doctor.
Have you been on to the undertaker?
I was just about to consult the yellow pages.
Use these people. Tell him I sent you. And don't forget, if he's been cremated, you'll need another signature.
I told you, Arthur. I told you they double-checked. I think doctors are wonderful. I was wondering if while you're here, you'd consider taking a quick look at my hubby.
Oh, dear. What's wrong with him?
Well, I suspect it's vaguely mental on account of you know what?
Ah, yes, of course.
He's even gone so far as to want him to see his vicar.
I'll have a word with him.
Thanks ever so much, Doctor.
Now then, what seems to be the problem? People do die, you know. Be a big boy. Face up to it.
Yes, I'm trying to, but I've got this terrible problem.
Tell me about it.
I don't know where to start.
I expect you feel depressed.
Yes.
I'll give you some tranquilizers.
But,
3 of these,
no,
4 times a day. If it gets really bad, 2 of the little white ones, 6 of the black, and if you feel like it, you can bung in a couple of the blue. Oh, yes, and have a go at these, will you? Just a few samples they want me to try out. Have a go, tell me what you think.
So much, Doctor.
No, it's not me I'm concerned about, Doctor. It's my father.
Oh, bring him in. Make an appointment at the surgery.
He's dead.
Oh, he will keep saying that.
The thing is, you see, I've got this terrible suspicion he was put down.
Put down where?
Terminated by a specialist.
Are you saying you went private? I really should have been informed, you know.
Oh, no, he came through my friend Henry. All I did was sign a form. You see, I thought he came to do nigger.
Nigger being the lodger.
Nigger being the dog.
And
due to a misunderstanding of tragic proportions, I think he did my father at the same time.
Did? He will keep saying that.
Doctors do kill people, don't they?
Oh, it is mine, Doctor. He's elucidating again.
we're all entitled to our mistakes, surely.
Oh, no, I mean deliberately. Like as part of the treatment when they're old or ill or such like.
You really shouldn't believe everything you read in the papers, you know. Only it's one to control over. They go on about it, these people, but tell me this. Who's going to put the needle in? Who's going to administer the drug? Tell the nurse to double the dose. That shall keep them quiet, over and out. Let's face it, there's all the difference in the world between stepping up a dose of morphia to give your patient a good night's sleep and not worrying too much about whether or not he wakes up in the morning, and giving him a dose that'll finish him off within an hour.
We all like a good night's sleep, don't we, Doctor?
Good night's sleep. When did I last get a good night's sleep?
Doctors are all for keeping you going, cutting people's hearts out, giving them to the needy, miracles like that.
Medical advancement has made it possible to keep a dying person alive almost indefinitely.
Yes, but
Take
the
your father,
point
for example.
about my...
Old age is no longer a natural condition. It is a medical condition, and as such it has to be treated. You really should phone the undertaker.
They can treat anything now, Arthur. You know they can. I think you're wonderful.
Have you any idea of the dilemma? Give him a new heart, and his liver goes on the blink. So then we give him a new liver, and his bladder goes bust. Give your father a new heart, and he could be wetting the bed for another 10 years.
But he's dead.
NH1 to control and proceeding to next appointment. ETA 23:45, over now.
They're engaged all the time. They must be ever so busy.
Yes, it has been very busy these past few weeks, I must say. How are you, Mrs.
Oh, bearing up nicely, thank you, Doctor.
What was it last time?
Up my legs.
I'll make an appointment for you at the hospital.
I must admit, they've been very little trouble of late.
Well, that's how these things start, you know, sheer indifference. Come and see me next week and I'll arrange to give you some tests.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Ah, but we don't know that, do we?
You do accept he could be doing it, then, do you?
Who?
The specialist.
I really cannot comment on the behaviour of another medical practitioner. We do have a code, you know. However, if you do find out he's done it again, do let me know. Word goes round that doctors are killing their patients with a stoned to death.
Thank you ever so much, Doctor. Good night.
Good night, Mrs.
Oh, isn't she lovely? So natural. Now, I know this is a very sad occasion, Arthur, but I do wish you'd do something to liven yourself up. Your father wouldn't like to see you behaving like this, you know he wouldn't. He used to like a good laugh, until nature took advantage of his body. When your mother died, he was the life and soul. It was him, if you remember, who was all for her knees up.
B, what have we done? Oh,
Sorry to hear the news, Mum.
It is sad, isn't it?
yes, I was hoping you were Henry.
Well, that's nice.
No, I've got to talk to him, you see.
Marge keeps telling you he's not back yet.
Yeah, we would have come early, but we've been out.
Anyway, nice.
Come to this Christmas dinner dance.
Went on to the Holiday Inn for a nightcap.
On top of that, couldn't read the au pair's writing. Oh.
Oh, he looks very peaceful anyway, doesn't he?
Happened quite suddenly, did it?
One minute he was just sitting there, next minute he was just sitting there.
It was that specialist.
We will keep saying that.
What specialist?
He means the vet. Ever so understanding he was.
Oh, you've had the dog down.
Yes, your father finally thought it was for the best.
Poor old Nix.
I cried for days over our rabbit.
I killed him.
All we did was to assist nature. He's torturing himself, something terrible.
And try not to upset yourself, Grandad.
I think it's something to do with them both going at the same time, Grandad and Nicker.
Perhaps they did it in sympathy.
Same thing happened to Henry's father, of course.
Oh, he was quite stoic, I seem to remember.
Oh, no, dear, pneumonia. Have a word with him, Robert, while I go and phone the undertaker. I've been trying for ages.
Not too long, if you don't mind, Robert. I'm exhausted.
Well, now, Dad, something on your mind,
Yes,
is there?
yeah, I must talk to you, Robert. I keep trying to tell your mother, you see, but she... I think I've done something terrible.
I'm sure it's not as bad as
No,
all
I've
that.
got a feeling it's worse.
There's no doubt your prime concern is the recent demise of your father.
Yes.
And you no doubt feel that something more could have been done for him.
No, it's not that.
Well, what?
It's difficult to explain this,
It's
Robert.
precisely my point. I mean, family discussions are all very well, but not in the home. We're all too involved emotionally. You need someone that's qualified in these
There's
matters.
always someone qualified to lend an ear.
Well, I've got through at last, but I can't understand a word he's saying.
So I'll have a word with him.
I expect you'll miss him.
Who? Oh, Grandad, oh, yes. Yes, he was a nice old man, really, for all his funny ways. Well, not so much funny as disgusting. Like a baby he was towards the end.
Both ends, I seem to remember.
There would appear to be something of a problem.
What's happened?
They can't take him.
What do you mean they can't take him?
They're full up.
Phone them back. Tell them who you are and make it quite clear that unless they accept our order, we shall in future take our business elsewhere.
I know how these things are done, thank you, Vivienne. He said I can do what I like. It's the same everywhere.
Must be someone who can take him.
What seems to have happened is that due to an unprecedented demand, the gravediggers and crematorium attendants have downed tools and are demanding a 46% pay rise plus new productivity agreement.
Unprecedented demand?
Apparently, there is now an intensive pile-up in mortuaries and chapels of rest throughout the home counties. I mean, they're embalming as many as they can, but due to the intense demand, they've run out of fluid, which is why they cannot take any more orders.
Can you imagine this sort of thing happening in Japan?
What are we going to do with him?
Now you know why I drive a Datsun.
We must remain calm and work out an alternative strategy. First things first, he'll have to be moved.
Quite right, Robert. We can't have him sitting in here with us, can we, Arthur? We might have visitors.
I think we ought to send for the police.
Oh, we can manage ourselves. They've got enough to
I
do.
want him exhumed. Examined.
Yes, right. Well, we'll talk about that later, right? Oh, where are we going to put him?
Well, in his own room would be the most natural, don't you think?
Yes. Come on, Dad. Come on.
I don't like this, you know.
You don't think I do you?
It's wrong, I know it is. You wait for Henry.
Henry isn't
I
here.
know he isn't.
Try and keep him off the wallpaper. £1.65 a roll plus VAT. This isn't very nice, you know.
It's terrible. I've got to be up at 7.
Who's that? Henry, thank goodness you're here.
Marge told me the same news.
He's been trying to get in touch with you all night.
I would have come earlier, of course, but I was at a meeting.
We've just been to a dinner dance.
Oh, the place to dance, Acapulco.
They have some lovely functions at Robert's firm.
Top table next year.
The place to avoid is Edinburgh.
Here, Robert, look who's here.
Oh, yes. Heard about this strike?
I have, and it's very unfortunate.
More than unfortunate as far as we're concerned.
Are you saying the deceased is still in residence?
Precisely.
Well, they should have moved him.
I think the government would have sent in the troops or something.
Surely there's some emergency measures in force.
There are, yes. They've commandeered alternative sightings.
He said yes.
For example, there's the cold storage room of that wholesale meat factory just off the Great West
Yes,
Road.
I know that, Henry, but they can only take so many, and there's already been complaints about possible loss of trade.
If only these trade union people knew what they were doing to this country.
Where's Arthur?
I left him with Grandad.
What's he doing?
As far as I could make out, apologising.
What for?
Lost his mind, Henry. It's even been going on about calling the police.
Do you mind if I use your phone? I might just be able to pull a few strings.
Oh, sure.
Hey, why have you been avoiding me?
Avoiding you, Arthur?
I've been trying to get out of you all night.
I've been at a meeting.
What, till 3 o'clock in the morning?
We have a very extensive agenda.
Look, you're the only one who knows. I've got to talk to you, Henry. Look, it's wrong. I didn't mean it. Anyway, it wasn't me. It was you. You sent that specialist round here.
Now, look, Arthur, what you're going through is an understandable reaction. I've suffered the same way myself. We all go through it during the initial period of regulation mourning.
All? How many are there?
All I know is we are forming part of what is known as an upward trend. Now, you'll get used to it, particularly once the benefits become that much more apparent. For example, why don't you take B on a nice holiday for 2? Pop round one evening, study the brochures. Well, this is hardly a time and place.
Time and place, but we've just poisoned him.
If I might have your attention for a moment.
What's that, Robert?
I think I might have come up with the answer.
If you're amenable, that is, Henry.
Amenable in what direction, B?
Well, this strike could drag on for days.
When don't they?
Therefore, we must make alternative arrangements.
Well, he can't stay upstairs, can he?
Hygiene does enter into these things.
As I understand it, Henry, you have recently taken delivery of a new deep freeze.
Yes, that's quite correct. Oh, well, now.
Well, you did say we could avail ourselves of it, Henry. Any time we like, you said.
What I had in mind, B, was the odd lamb shop.
We would have suggested ours, of course, but there is the question of the travelling arrangements.
Just a minute. Are you suggesting putting my father in with a load of pizzas and pineapple juice?
Only temporarily, Arthur.
Carrot juice, actually. Marge, as you very well know, is very health conscious.
She's got a diploma.
Are we agreed then, Henry?
What about me?
I'm trying to do my best. Frankly, Dad, this should be your problem, not mine, but seeing as you seem incapable...
We cannot leave him where he is, can we?
You're quite right, Robert. Leave it to me.
You're very kind, Henry.
The thing being, of course, I can't very well just carry him down the road. It's an improving area and it might offend the neighbours.
Robert's already thought about that, haven't you, Robert?
That's because he's executive.
We'll use the wheelchair.
Yeah, the one you gave us, Henry.
Anyone seeing him, or that's think he's taking a little stroll.
What, at 4 o'clock in the morning with a sheet over his head?
He has got a point, of course.
So, I'm not having it.
Well, what do you suggest, then?
Well, take the sheet off, put his cap on.
Well, brilliant.
Right, Henry, you get the wheelchair. Move it, Grandad.
Look, I've got my action book in the morning, so I don't want to be late, particularly as I was recently voted joint chairperson.
Want to be nice and fresh, then?
Is it a chest freezer, Henry, or an upright?
A good point, Vivienne. A chest freezer, actually. 30.9 cubic feet with a capacity of 280 pounds.
Robert and I prefer the immediate access of an upright.
My father used to play the accordion.
There is, of course, the question of the temperature setting.
I shall have to consult the brochure how to get the best out of your freezer.
Yeah, we don't want him spoiled.
Probably where's his cap?
Down by the horse, down by his walking frame.
On the question of temperature setting, Henry, I was quite recently reading a book on cannibalism in the South Seas, and apparently the nearest equivalent to human flesh is pork.
Setting number 5.
I'm much obliged. I'll tell Marge. I'll keep you informed, Arthur.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm coming with it.
No need, old man. I can
I
manage.
insist, Lee.
Don't you think you better put his coat on? It is a bit nippy.
Details, Mum, details.
It's ever so kind of you, Henry. I shan't forget this, you know.
Bloody sure I won't.
I do hope he's going to be all right in there. You do worry about these things, you know.
Frankly, it shouldn't be our problem. We've got enough to worry about, what with next-door neighbour's bonfire and the jacuzzi playing up.
First thing tomorrow morning, you must get onto the cemeteries, parks and amenities department at the town hall.
It is first thing tomorrow morning.
Any problems, tell them you will be demanding a pro rata rebate on the rates.
What's on my mind, Robert, is, well, you know what these trade unions are like. Well, suppose some of the others come out in sympathy. I was thinking in particular of the electricians.
She does, of course, have a very good point. A power cut now could be highly detrimental.
I am quite sure that, knowing Marge, she has an insurance which covers both equipment and contents.
All done then, Dad?
Marge is in her curlers, and Henry suggested they ought to discuss the matter in camera.
Yes, well, I really don't think there's any more we can do now, Robert.
Yes, well, if it's all right with you, Dad,
I admit he was getting me down. I admit having evil thoughts about him, but I would never have put him in a home. I wouldn't, Dad, I would never have done that. And I would have put him in a freezer.
There you are, you see.
Yes, he's taken it very badly, hasn't he?
He's much worse than when his mother went.
Technically, of course, he's an orphan.
Wait a minute, he left a card.
Who?
A specialist, where is it?
Not him again.
What specialist?
He means the vet.
Where is it? Where's that card?
He's by the telephone.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Phone him, get him round here.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
24-hour service.
I'm going to put the kettle on.
Not for us, thanks, Mum.
Yes, a cup of tea will be most welcome,
Welcome,
thank you.
yes.
I hope you
realise, Robert, this situation could present us with something of a problem?
Not at all, Vivienne. Our role in this untidy affair is no more and no less than that of an advisory backup.
Oh, what if something should happen to him?
Who?
Your father. You can't deny he's behaving in a most peculiar manner. What if his mind is going, as your mother is constantly trying to imply, he might have to be taken away? Now then, what becomes of her vis-à-vis our responsibility?
I'd pop in and see her.
And then
You know
again,
I
what if
would.
she should take it upon herself to die before he does?
He's got years
Because
in
I'm telling you now, Robert, there is no question of him moving in with us, especially not with the baby and another one due as soon as the Italian tiles are down in the breakfast room.
He won't move in with us. We'd have him looked after. It's what we pay for.
I'm thinking of you, Robert. You are at a watershed. Career-wise, status-wise, life-wise. Things are very much on the up and up. Your shoulders are broad. But there are things you should not be asked to carry.
What do you suggest I do?
Pander to him. Play up to his little peccadillos.
What you're saying is ease his mind, and I might prevent it from snapping.
Precisely, Robert. Oh, there you are, Grandad. Did you manage to speak to him?
No, it was a recorded message, so I've asked him to come round as soon as he can.
Jolly good. Well, let's get back to this
You
problem,
see, I
Dad.
could have stopped it, only I was late home from the office, and your mother thought it was the dog.
I see.
She had been a Monday, been all right, and I was home sharp of a Monday.
Yes, let's talk about the dog.
Yes, that's how it started, you see. I mean, he was on his last knock-ins, you could see that for yourself. Henry recommended the specialist. We had a chat, and he came round to do our nigger. Only did your grandfather at the same time.
Well, these accidents do happen in the home. I mean, the ministry have published a very interesting little
No, it wasn't an
leaflet.
accident. No, he did it for Henry as well. That's why I got such hearty recommendation. And not only Henry. Apparently he's going round doing it everywhere.
Doing what?
Terminations. Apparently he's up to his eyes.
When you say he's going around doing it everywhere...
I've been putting two and two together, you see. It's not just my father and Henry's father. There's others. There's Mr. Hodges, Mr. Walker.
Who's Mr. Walker?
Used to be our milkman, but he didn't have a dog.
No, had a budgerigar. Eh?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Joey.
Eh?
Were both found dead in Mr. Walker's invalid carriage. Carbon monoxide poisoning.
Due to a faulty exhaust, they said.
I thought budgies could smell gas.
Well, normally, yes, but on this occasion it had a nasty cold, which is why Mr. Walker was taking it to see the vet.
The vet! You see, now do you understand? You see, why do you think they're all out on strike? It's creating an epidemic.
You wouldn't by any chance have any proof of his visit?
Yes, I signed a form in triplicate.
Oh, you'll have a copy then?
Oh, he took all three of them with him.
Did you actually read this?
Well, no, not in as many words, but you don't, do you?
So that what we might have here is a simple case of misunderstanding.
But he's dead, Robert!
You know, Dad, I believe that could be the entire nub of this problem.
What?
You see, we are living in a world where things are no longer black and white.
Not where my sister lives.
But it's wrong!
Before we say what is right and what is wrong, we must fully examine the circumstances.
Yes, suppose, for example, there was some kind of agreement between Grandad and this
What do you
specialist.
mean, an agreement?
Or did Grandad at any time express any desire to depart this earthly existence?
Yes, he did. He said, I wish I was dead.
I think we're
Yes,
getting
that's what he
somewhere,
said.
Robert.
Why can't I die?
Yes, the sense of uselessness, of non-productivity. The clerical staffs and managerial association is very aware of this, I can assure you, and so, as I now realise, was Grandad. Might it not, therefore, be that he expressed a positive request to end his suffering, suffering that involved not only himself, but the entire family? Might it not be, therefore, that he was, in fact, laying down his life so that others might benefit? Might it not be that he was, in fact, doing a Captain Oates?
Oh, thanks very much. You've really put my mind at rest. Ah, right, he's here at last.
I don't know what you said to him, Robert, but he certainly looks a lot brighter.
I think we brought him a certain amount of consolation, don't you, Vivienne?
We certainly did our best, Robert.
No, it's Henry.
There's been a hitch.
What you mean is Marge objected.
No, she quite understood.
Then what's he doing back here?
Well, the thing is, she's expecting a large consignment of meat. To be precise, half a cow and a couple of sheep.
Well, I wish you'd said, Henry.
Exactly my words, B. I wish you'd said I said. But the thing is, due to the cold storage crisis brought on by this unfortunate strike, they're selling off cheap. Somehow I'd stepped in quick with a Barclay card.
Yeah, which always did have an eye for a bargain.
True, very true.
Remember that bedspread you brought back from Alicante?
Algeria.
What about him?
Now, be reasonable, Arthur. I want him out of the way as much as you do. But with the best will in the world, there simply wasn't the room. And even if we had been able to squeeze them all in, I mean, he could be with us for some time, and we cannot maintain responsibility for his safekeeping ad infinitum. I mean, what if there should be a mix-up in the labelling? We had a terrible time last year with the soft fruits.
All the effort we put into this and back to square one.
But what are we going to do with
Well,
it?
he can't come back in there.
I'm not carting him up them stairs again.
In my opinion, he shouldn't be in the house at all. Respect the dead, yes, but those of us who are left are entitled to some sort of consideration, surely.
Might I make a suggestion?
You do, Henry.
Well, as you say, it's a chilly night.
Morning.
Therefore, the simplest thing to do will be to put him outside in the garden.
What a good idea, Henry. He loved the garden, old Gran.
I'm not having him out there.
No,
Only temporarily, Arthur. I'm not suggesting he becomes a feature.
All right, go on. Do what you like. Go on, do exactly what you want with him. Go on, I don't care. That's not my father anyway. That's just a tired old shell he walked around. Yeah, go on. Do what you want with him. Do exactly what you want. Just keep him in one piece, that's all.
Come on, Henry, I'll help you. I know where it is. I'll hold you back door.
Give Henry a hand, will you, Robert?
Me?
Clearly your father is totally disinterested in the
We shall see.
proceedings.
We shall see.
So much for our little pep talk.
If I was you, Dad, I'd pull my socks up. Otherwise, I might be forced to take certain steps which we might all of us come to regret.
Steps? What steps?
Oh, it never rains but what it pours.
In a manner of speaking.
What's happened now?
Oh, it's snowing.
Never brought him back.
No, he's quite comfortable. We left him under the lean-to.
It could get damp.
Henry wrapped him in the old carpet we was throwing out.
Oh, that's all right.
I really don't think there's any more we can do now, Robert.
Yes. Oh, yes, look at the time. We'd better be off.
Well, I must get back. Don't hesitate to ask if you want any more assistance, Arthur.
He'll be back to his old self in a couple of days.
Just what I said. What did you mean, keep him in one piece?
Yes, what did you mean?
I'm going to confront that specialist with him, that's what I mean.
Keeps going on about that specialist you recommended.
What about him?
What you know what him?
We thought you were him.
And you came back just now.
Arthur gave him a tinkle.
Yes, and he's coming round here.
You've done a terrible thing, Arthur.
Me?
You should have left it to me. It was confidential.
Ask him, Robert. Come on, ask him.
Oh, yes, don't mind me. Please, carry on.
Straight answer to a straight question, Henry, if you please. Is there any validity in my father's accusation that his father was, to use his expression, terminated by this specialist who was sent round here via a recommendation by your good self, and that furthermore the aforementioned specialist is going around doing it everywhere?
They have to try these things, don't they? They have to see how it works out.
What are you talking about?
Who are they?
I've explained he's retained.
Let's get this quite clear. Are you saying he's official?
Unofficially, yes. That's what I mean, Arthur. It's early days. Carry on like this and you could upset everybody.
Early days for what?
The scheme, Beatrice.
Now do you believe me?
You should never have got them involved, Arthur.
How many times have I said it?
I say, Henry, this has come as quite a shock.
Now, how do you think I feel?
That'll be him.
Right, that's it, right. Beatrice, answer the door.
What are you going to do?
Fetch my father.
I hate to say this, Robert, but your father's causing a great deal of embarrassment to people who are in no position to take it lightly. Unless we're very careful, we could be in serious trouble. All of us.
Oh, no, again.
Who are you?
I am a relative of the deceased.
What are they doing here?
We were just on our way, actually.
One moment, if you please. Well, he told them. He did what?
He's gone!
It can't be.
Yeah.
Go and have another look. You know what your eyes are like. You might have missed him.
Under the lean-to in that old carpet.
There is no carpet.
Oh, dear, I've just remembered.
What?
It's Thursday.
Well, what about Thursday?
It's bin day. The day the bin men come.
Oh, my God.
Dear, they must have been a gone.
Oh, dear, they've taken my father.
Ring the depot, explain what's happened, and ask them to keep an eye out for him when he comes off the lorry.
Just tell them you want him back.
Yes.
But they can keep the carpet.
Oh, what's the number?
Direct inquiry.
I'd leave it for half an hour if I were you, Arthur. They'll be having their breakfast.
Wait a minute. You put him out there deliberately, didn't you? You did it to destroy the evidence.
Might I respectfully point out that none of this has anything to do with me. My responsibilities are clearly defined. Disposal of the remains is entirely your affair.
You killed him.
You signed the forms.
What sort
Did you
of
or did you not thus signify your approval?
Yeah, what? No.
I was acting at your request. The responsibility is
I
yours.
don't want the responsibility.
Precisely. Do you mind sitting down?
I don't want to sit down.
Please, sit down.
Close trouble, Daddy's
You're
official.
making it bad for all of us.
I'll make him a cup of tea.
Thank you. Now then, you surely can't believe that I would assist your father simply because you requested it.
I didn't request it.
Let's not go into all that again, please. Answer my question.
I don't know.
They wouldn't do a thing like that.
Take them for.
It's all part of the scheme, Arthur.
Terminating people?
Selective culling.
You can't expect to take it in all at one go. Of course you can't. It takes time. I mean, I know. It took Marge at least a week to get used to the idea. And I myself felt very dodgy for the first few days or so. But I can honestly say, looking back, it changed my life.
It changed his as well.
You don't think I was the first, do you? He didn't tell you I was the first, did he?
Did you?
I don't remember.
Well, I must say that would have been very unfair if you had, Arthur.
Who else then?
Well, they make a selection.
Yeah, Mr. Hodges, Mr. Walker.
Not just them. There's some persons of very high standing involved.
Yes.
They don't choose anyone, you know. There's a very nice class of person involved.
I don't care what class of person involved. He is going around terminating them.
And why is this necessary? We live in the age of the welfare state. Do you remember the promise that was made? Total care. From the cradle to the grave. Total care. But the welfare system is slowly grinding to a halt. And why? Because people unfit to look after themselves are surviving in increasing numbers. The advancement of medical science has assured us of one thing: the survival of the unfittest in a world of acute shortages.
Housing, food, raw materials, work.
And so, we are faced with the ever-growing problem of pollution. Human pollution.
People.
We must think beyond people. We must think of society as a whole. And so, as I say, selective culling.
I take it that at the moment it's purely an introductory offer to see how things go.
To get people used to the idea.
As indeed we did with birth control.
Now you've got clinics.
And abortion.
Oh, that was you, was it?
Abortion, the termination of life at its beginning, is now totally accepted.
And now you're concentrating on the other end.
Precisely.
Excuse me.
Yes,
I want to ask him something.
yes.
How many sugars do you take?
2, please.
I remember reading this article in The Guardian about mercy killing.
Euthanasia, Robert.
Getting the subject aired.
So people get used to the idea.
People won't stand for it.
People stand for anything if it's put properly.
Look at the common market.
Think of it. A controlled birth rate and selective culling.
Inspire.
Thank
A
you.
fit and healthy society under the age of...
The details will, of course, be worked out later.
You know, you see, Arthur, you could thus spend your time and funds accordingly.
Think of the money the state will save.
Money reallocated for the benefit of the fit.
The productive.
Only suggests as an alternative, of course, that perhaps we could look after old people a bit better.
I'm sure they've thought about that already.
We are human, you know.
Nature has a balance, you see.
Sadly, that balance has been disturbed.
Look,
Don't
you
go on
cannot-
about these things. Please, Dad. These people are experts.
The thing being, it is only an idea. I mean, if it doesn't work out or if people don't like it...
Then something else.
A good war.
Or a plague or something.
There always have been ways, you see.
Only we keep stopping them.
Death isn't exactly new, is it, Dad?
Not in my family, it isn't.
People have been dying for years.
Which reminds me, I must go. I have a full day ahead. All this is, of course, entirely confidential.
Of course.
We've always been very careful.
You mention something and they all want one.
Look at our jacuzzi. Arthur,
Yeah?
Arthur, that was the cleansing department.
How they
Nice
found
of
him,
them. They must
gorgeous.
have known we'd be
What?
worried. The thing is, they didn't mention Grandad.
What do you mean they didn't mention
He
him?
was ringing about the carpet.
What about the carpet?
Well, apparently they put it in the incinerator and it blew up.
Oh, my God, my father was in that carpet.
Well, he was so annoyed this man, I didn't like to mention it.
How could it blow up?
If I might suggest, did he ask to be cremated?
Not in a refuse dump, he didn't.
The addendum to Forms B of the Cremations Acts 1902 and 1952 reads as follows. A. Has the deceased been fitted with a cardiac pacemaker or radioactive implant, yes or no?
Yes.
B. If the answer to A is in the affirmative, has this been removed, yes or no?
No, but it was all
The
such
reason
a
that
rush.
this
you
addendum
see.
is printed in red and marked important is that remains containing such a pacemaker or radioactive implant are liable to explode under intense heat, that is during cremation, causing shock to the attendants and distress to the next of kin. You really should have said something, you know.
I didn't know they were going to cart him off, did I?
About this other business. You will remember what I said?
Absolutely.
The department would, of course, scotch any premature rumours that might damage the cause. And after all is said and done, where's the proof anyway?
Yes. Well, I think we'd better...
Oh, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. It was a conspiracy. You did it because of that strike. Those weren't our real bin men.
Nonsense. Total care. The last responsibility absolved. Think about it.
If I may suggest, Dad, don't cause any more trouble. These people are experts.
They know what's best for all of us.
And they keep charts and everything, you know, statistics.
It's a service, a social service.
And we are the trailblazers.
It's progress, Grandad, progress.
It makes sense, you know it does.
But it's us, Henry.
It's not us. We won't be a burden. We're not the type. Anyway, it's not now, is it? It's tomorrow.
Are people kind? Now, Arthur, there is one consolation. Oh. That incinerator's in Newport Street. Now, Grandad always said he wanted his ashes sprinkled in Newport Street. It's nice to think the old gentleman had his ultimate desire.